JD Runnels here, Sooners Helping Sooners, and beyond blessed to have my big brother here. And I say big brother because I stole your touchdown celebration, so we got to be somewhat related. Josh Norman, how you doing, sir?
I'm well, man. Thanks for having me on.
Yes, thank you for coming. And for people that don't know, you're end around against Nebraska, which was one of the legendary games. Again, your celebration was the same one that I copied my sophomore year when we beat Texas and throwing the horns down. So
That's all.
and I tell people all the time, and you got to tell us, obviously, what a great segue to start it. The 2000 team, that national championship, the Nebraska game. Talk to us about it.
Man, I mean, shoot, I think that's just for me, obviously, because I experienced it. It was just a really special year, really special season. One of the most special seasons in all of my time and being involved in the game of football, from little league all the way up to 44-year-old coach. But I actually had this thought the other day, like a big part of the reason it was so special was just because it was unexpected. Like not a lot of people expected that from us. They were like, yeah, they'll probably be better. They were 7-6 the year before, and got better under Bob Stoops' first year. But they weren't expecting us to have that type of run that we did, especially when you look at our schedule in that October, from Texas to Kansas State to Nebraska, those 3 games back to back to back. And it was, I think Texas was, I don't know, number 11 in the country. I think Kansas State was number 5 or maybe number 3 in the country, and then Nebraska number 1 in the country. And yeah, man, we ran the table with them, and it was just a special season. I tell people all the time that one thing that made that season so special was just the connection that we had on that team, and a lot of people ask me, like, what was it like when y'all won and you got to hoist up the trophy? And honestly, man, when we think back, and I'm sure you can relate to this too, it's like when I'm hanging with the fella from that team, we're not talking about, oh man, remember when we won the game and we hoisted up the trophy? But it's all the memories throughout the year, that make that journey so special. And a lot of the things that we talk about have nothing to do with what happened on the field. It's everything around that. It's what happened with Schmitty in the summer. It's what happened, in some of the meeting rooms, and maybe at practice one day. Maybe something that happened in the locker room or at the training table. It's just all of those moments that make it so memorable. Just the memories from just the journey of that year to winning it, and the fact that you could cap it off with the national championship is really special.
Fantastic. Legendary high school in Texas. Talk about your upbringing, football, how you got there.
Yeah, man. So born and raised in Midland, Texas. Shoot, Jerry Lee Norman, Sheila Norman, my folks. That's how I got there. That's how I got to Midland. But yeah, man. My brothers and myself, we were all football players. I'm the middle of 3 boys, and so my older brother John was number 1 safety in the country coming out of high school, recruited by everywhere in the country, and ended up going to Texas Tech and had a good career there. Proud of him because he just this year he's part of the 2025 Texas High School Hall of Fame induction.
Wow.
Yeah, so he's on the ballot with freaking Pat Mahomes and RG3. So
Not a bad crew.
it's not a bad crew to be on the ballot with, right? And so he was a heck of a player, man. And then I came after him, and then my younger brother Joe, he was Texas High School Defensive Player of the Year, and went on to play at Texas Tech as well. And so I was the smart one, and I came to Oklahoma. I got out of there, man. I got out of West Texas and came to Oklahoma, and really, like, it was because of Coach Blake, man. Coach Blake recruited me, and what was crazy is, like, I had taken all of my 5 visits by the time Coach Blake had reached out to me. I was done taking my visits. I was trying to decide between those 5 schools. Coach Blake got in the game late. And so he actually, remember, he flew out to Midland, Texas in a private jet, landed on tarmac, and that's where I met him and Coach Barlow out there on the tarmac. And he talked to me. He gave me his pitch, and I was like, cool. And I was just like, whatever. I got my 5 visits. I'm gonna choose between those teams. But my dad is the one who convinced me. He was like, man, Josh, I really like you to check out Oklahoma. And so he was gonna have to pay for it because, we didn't have any, I didn't have any official visits left. And so, man, we came out here on a barren December weekend, like the campus was clear because everybody was gone,
Sure.
for
No
Christmas
traffic.
break, no traffic. It was me and one other recruit, Brent Jackson, who we ended up coming. He ended up coming as well. But yeah, I mean, it wasn't much to do, nothing. They gave us their spiel and all of that, but it was really just Coach Blake, man. He was just somebody that I looked at that could be a father figure away from home. Knew that he loved his players. And so, man, I ended up one morning just committing to Oklahoma, and it didn't come without its critics. A lot of people were very critical of me making that decision coming from West Texas. You know what I'm saying? Both my brothers at Texas Tech, the rival of Texas, and they weren't very good the few years before that. And so, to everybody, it was a bad decision, man. But it was something that I truly felt like I prayed about, and like God was like, "Yeah, I want you to go to Oklahoma." And so, I say that, man, just like I feel like that's part of my testimony. It's like I trusted God for something, and despite how bad it looked at the time, uh, it turned out to be the best decision I had ever made in my life at that time.
No doubt about it.
Um,
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
no, no, go ahead.
I was gonna say, fast forward, you get to play in the NFL, you get to catch TDs. I'm
Yeah,
I'm mad Drew Brees retired because I love seeing the gifts you got for catching touchdowns. Drew
right.
Brees sends gifts to all the receivers that caught. I don't know how many was it.
Yeah, so when he won the all-time touchdown passing record, he sent a football, memorabilia football, with your name, your stats, if you caught a touchdown from him at any point in his career. And I was fortunate enough to catch a couple of touchdowns from him, and so I got that ball, nice letter with it, and one of my most memorable pieces of memorabilia that I have. And so yeah, man, I ended up coming here and was recruited as a running back. Played running back under Coach Blake. I didn't actually play in the game. I played a lot of special teams my freshman year. And then the next year when Coach Stoops came in, he brought in Coach Leach. It was crazy because we were an I formation team at that time. And I was an I formation running back. That was back when they were doing the big Eddie George running backs, and I was one of those guys, 6'2", 230-pound running back.
Yes, sir.
And yeah, man, I was one of the few running backs on the roster at that time that could catch the ball in the new air raid offense, under Mike Leach. And so that's how I was able to find time on the field. And so they moved me around to all of these different positions that first year. And then about halfway through the year, they ended up moving me to slot receiver, and that's where I played my last 2.5 years. And so going into the NFL had the fortune of making a team as a tight end and, put my hand in the dirt and had some success there, a short stint. But, it was a blessing for me just because it was something that I'd always dreamed about as a kid to be able to do. And so the truth is, Oklahoma, people ask me all the time, like, why you stay in Oklahoma? Why are you still in Oklahoma? It's been good to me, man. That's the truth, man. It's a special place and a place that I consider home now, and love being here in Oklahoma, being connected to all of the people and the great relationships that I made when I was here.
Yeah, well, you talk about your testimony. I'm gonna get to the soul mission and everything, but I also gotta just talk to you about the brotherhood and just how much I appreciated. You mentioned you being moved around and things like that, and I mentioned to Jerry that he was my favorite player. But in high school, they used to move me around that same way.
Yeah.
And OU had been on probation that entire, most of my growing up, so they weren't on TV much. But I remember turning it on and seeing this big dude, number single digit, getting moved around, playing running back, tight end, blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
Well, then I start, really following you, but then I had no idea that Jay Hunt, who was at
Yeah.
Carl Albert guy, I scored a touchdown my first game in my senior year, and I look over by Jay Hunt, who's standing by the gate, and I'll be damned if Josh Norman is
Yep.
standing there.
I remember
And
that
I'm
game,
like,
right?
oh man, like didn't Josh Norman saw me score a touchdown? Come on, man.
Yeah.
So it meant a lot to me. So thank you for
It's
that.
awesome.
But also just talk to us about Soul Mission and what you
Yeah.
got going now.
Yeah, man. So Soul Mission is the player development department that Coach Venables established when he got the job, and it's a beautiful thing, man. Soul is an acronym for Serving Our Uncommon Legacy, and so basically, we're responsible for just building our programming to help our guys develop off the field, life skills development, which includes financial literacy, like practical life skills, like how to cook, how to dress, right? Understanding how to build your own personal brand and communicate effectively. And then we have a career and professional development department, which is really centered around a micro internship program that we like tonight. We're having interview preparation seminar where our guys are learning how to interview, how to prepare for an interview, how to interview. And then a couple of months down the line, we're going to bring in all of these businesses, and those businesses are going to interview our guys, and then they're going to be selected on if they are a part of a micro internship, which is just a 1 week internship over the summer. And so they're getting, you know, practical tools that they can use in the real world, whether they go on to play football or not, right? You go to the combine, you'll have to do interviews, right? And so they're getting reps for that as well. But then, you know, they're also getting that experience and being in the real world, being in a corporate world, corporate setting. So shoot, some of them have gone on these internships, and it's all over the country. And some of them, you know, they'll go and they're like, "Yep, nope, that's not what I want to do," right? And some of them are actually like, "I really like that," and they've gotten job offers for whenever they're done playing football. They
Love that.
have a place, and I think we've had 15 guys over the last 3 years who are actually working those jobs that they did micro internships with. Um, and so, and then another component is we're doing community engagement, which includes just, you know, building partnerships with community organizations to provide our guys opportunities to go serve individually and as a team. Part of that programming is that we do some stuff abroad as well. We do a lot of things locally, but we do a couple of service trips abroad where we go to South Africa and we go to Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. Last year, we also went to Maui, Hawaii to help the people who were affected by the fires. And so, you know, some real transformative programming that we're doing. And then we also have a component um, for former player engagement, which is really just making sure that our guys feel welcome back to the program, that they know that they're connected to the program. But then also, you know, we try to do a couple events for them a year. And then we also try to provide them similar resources that we provide for our current players, which is, you know, career and professional development. There's some guys we've sat down with, helped them redo their resume and helped them, you know, connect them to resources within our network, or yeah, within our network, and help them find their next career move or, you know, industry move or whatever. And then also, you know, the Sooners Help or Sooners for Life program that we have, which is the continued education program. So if you start a degree at OU as a student athlete, whether it's your undergrad or graduate degree, and you happen to leave for whatever reason, whether it's go play ball or just life or whatever, we'll pay for you to come back and finish your degree. And so, you know, that is so mission from an external facing view. But what I like to tell people is like our programming is as good as anybody in the country. We do it better than anybody. But what really is the secret sauce to what we do in Soul Mission is how we serve our players, the things that nobody will ever see, things that no one will ever hear that we're doing with our players. Living life with them, helping them through those hard times, celebrating the good times with them, and just always just being there for them to serve them in any capacity. I've babysat some of our players' kids before, you know what I'm saying? Like
Gotta do it.
stuff like that, you know
Yep.
what I'm saying? And just whatever way we can serve our players. And that really is like the service part is the true heart of Soul Mission.
I love that, and they couldn't have picked anybody better. And I'm not just saying that for, just because you're here, but that you're as passionate as anybody, and you love running the football, Josh. So you got my vote. And if people don't think it's important, I'm a testimony. You mentioned getting to learn how to cook. I ate pizza shuttle 90% of the time
We all
in
did,
college,
no
right?
question.
Just the interview skills. Never interviewed until I
Yeah,
got to the combine.
absolutely.
A paycheck. My first paycheck was in the NFL.
Yep.
And,
Yep.
you know, I don't know. So, but
Yeah.
again, talk to us about what you're doing now, your new venture.
Yeah, man. So crazy enough, tomorrow will be my last day at OU. It's hard. You know, bittersweet just because it's just such a special place to me, man. And the relationships that I built as a player there, that I built over the last 3 years, and in the capacity that I've been there, they're just amazing relationships, and I love that place. But you know, I feel like God called me to do something different. And so, starting in February, I'll be the executive director for Santa Fe Family Life Center in Oklahoma City, which is it's a gym, it's a nonprofit gym, and you know, like we want to reach people and help people reach their their health and wellness goals. We want to, be inclusive for all people, like people with disabilities, senior wellness, and also veterans. Like those are the types of things that we do, and also obviously the youth. That's a big deal for me. And so, being able to implement programming that really impacts the community is part of my vision for that place.
Fantastic. And finally, Josh, man, Sooners helping Sooners. We didn't have anything like this, and just to be 1,000,000% transparent with you, and you're probably going to understand this, but I didn't realize how much I cared about OU football until Book died.
Yeah,
When Brandon Everidge passed away, I cried for about 6 days straight.
yeah,
I didn't even realize I was crying half
yeah,
the time. Those bonds get stronger. You
yeah,
mentioned you're a national championship team, and y'all don't even talk about that because the bonds are so strong. We've had teammates that have gone from poor to rich, rich to poor, healthy to sick, sick to healthy.
yeah.
Um, you're in it with the guys right now, and thankfully you guys are doing the work that we're trying to attach to as well. What does Sooners helping Sooners mean to you? What does it mean that our brothers have that?
Well, here's the deal, man. Like, and I try to uh, make sure that even recruits as they come in, that they understand the gravity of this. That when you spent the time that you've spent, that we've spent at a place where you've literally poured your heart and your soul and your sweat and your tears into a place, and it just like when you leave there, you want to have a connection to that place. You want to feel like you come back to that place and be welcomed and be known, right? And you want to keep that bond between those people that you did all of this stuff with. Like the truth is, man, like our bond wasn't built playing games.
Mm.
Right? Our bond was built in every way, every other way besides that. It's built, on the practice field. It's built in the meeting room. It's built in the dorms. It's built running around on campus doing foolish things, right? Learning how to protect each other, learning how to serve one another, learning how to love one another unconditionally, right? And those are the type of things that's built in the locker room. And so, uh, one thing that we all struggle with when that's over is like that longing for that. We want to be able to be with our brothers, and we want to have that camaraderie and that relationship, man. And so a lot of us struggle after football when we don't have that. And so to have a program uh, that's intentional about uh, keeping that connection together, uh, have a program that's intentional about serving um, those that group of that brotherhood is absolutely necessary because man, like some of us, like you said, like there's some that's been from rich to poor, poor to rich, but it's so hard to do it on your own. But to know that you have a brother, that you have people who genuinely care about you because you have this connection, this bond. You know what I'm saying? Like there's some of these guys with Sooners, I mean, Coach Pettibone, Jay O'Neal, freaking Jakey Sandiford. Like Jakey means so much to me, man. I'm not gonna cry either because like Jakey was my guy, man. And he just like for somebody who played back in the 50s to help a guy who played in the 90s, little young kid, man, both from West Texas, I might add. But like that's what that is. You know what I'm saying? And so uh like I didn't know some of these guys before that, you know what I'm saying? But I was telling Jay before this, man, like that's always been super special, like to look on the wall and see this and see these pictures of, who we look at as like these old guys, man, still together, even now, 60, 70 years later, like I see myself in that, you know what I'm saying? And even the guys now, I tell them, like, they like, what's up, what's up, old school? Right? It's like, yeah, I know, I feel you, but you're gonna be here sooner than you realize, you know what I'm saying? And I see myself in the Coach Pettibones, the Jay O'Neals. It's like, man, I actually said this, like, I want to be Merv Johnson.
Not about it.
You know what I'm saying? Like, to me, like to have a legacy like that is special, man. And I feel like Sooners helping Sooners, it fosters all of those things and allows them to continue to grow and solidify this brotherhood that we have.
Man, well, you mentioned it. It is a brotherhood, and I thank you. I mean that you're my big bro. So, and I think nothing really shows that we can end it on a good note. But Nothing shows our brotherhood like our secret Facebook group, my brother. Nothing shows our brotherhood. So we do this pod, and I think it shows people who we truly are. But we also do a few screenshots, not of everybody going back and forth,
No question.
but just of how much we care about each other, and we laugh. But Josh, when the team loses, the group chat lights up.
Yeah,
You know, it
I've
lights
had to
up.
stay off of it the last 3
There
years,
you go.
but I plan on getting back on there.
It's a great reconnecting tool, and they love sounding off. But on a sadder note, it keeps us together. And unfortunately, when somebody passes away, there's no stronger brotherhood. There's no way that it's shown that it's stronger than when somebody passes away. It was when Jimmy Wilkerson passed away the other last month. 10 people on there. Man, I can't believe what happened. When's the funeral? When's the funeral? Ball, man, we could do this all day. Chills thinking about it. Thank you, Josh. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
JD Runnels with the man Josh Norman, Sooners Helping Sooners.
Thank you.